Hi guys, welcome to my run on Dare to Defy Stage 2, which is also the same fight as Jessie's event, the Sloppy Provisioners, and the strategy that you see here will work for either version of the fight. Since they are essentially the same, I think the only difference is that in Dare to Defy you can't use a friend unit, and that's about it. First off, regarding the setup, my Celes has a 5/5 ultimate weapon, and you must have her at Force level 30 because this ensures that you outrace the bosses in reaching Force time. If the boss hits Force time 100% before you, it's a run ender because you cannot survive their Force time. In terms of passives, I have two passives removed, the first being Buff Boost Speed Up, the second being Shine Age Lite. Since this is a Dare to Defy stage, you can't use friend units, but if you are running this strategy on the Jessie event where you can actually use a friend unit, you can consider using something like a selfie friend or really any force gauge charger to help you win the race to charge force gauge to 100%. In the run here, I came pretty close. I hit 100% and the bosses were at 98%. Alternatives in terms of setup, you can also consider using something like a Chocobo summon or a Sylph summon. This allows you to quickly charge the summon meter, and you can use summon mode to help you win the force gauge race since the bosses cannot charge their force gauge when you are in summon mode. Finally, I gave her a Cyan LD call, and that's really only for the nuke damage at the end. You don't really need it. You can actually run this without a friend call. But if you are worried about other aspects of this fight, you can consider alternative call such as Gladiolus LD call to help negate damage that she will take. Or something even like a Kate Sith LD call, or maybe even a Panello LD call to give her HP regen to supplement the healing that she gets. Finally, if you are worried about HP damage, you can consider swapping out Brother Summon for an Alexander Summon, because that will give her HP regen buff very early on in the fight that lasts for 10 turns, and that stacks with the HP regen that she gets, which ensures that she will actually regen mostly to full health when she gets a turn. Now, why is Celes Solo particularly effective on this stage? Well, the obvious first and foremost reason is that there are 3 enemies on this stage. And although they each have 100 million HP, so the effective HP pool is 300 million, the fact that it's split across 3 bodies means that splash damage is particularly effective, and her trap does do splash damage as with her LD. Secondly, the bosses only have 2 regular attacks, so if you deny them force turns, there's only 2 attacks that they will use. So the first being Maneuverable Destruction, which is just a brave attack that debuffs you with speed down, and the speed down is actually pretty helpful in this strategy. And the second attack is an HP attack called Charge Ray. That attack does hurt, but the combination healing from Celes's traps and her HP regen will help to sort of net off the damage. And if you do need additional turns to heal, you can use Runic ability for instant turns, or you can just use either her LD or Shine Age Light for burst healing. In this fight, the boss also will have a minus 100% attack down aura, as well as additional brave damage resistances that they can get. So eventually, Celes will actually just be hitting for once. But that doesn't matter because both the boss's attack, which is Charge Ray and Maneuverable Destruction, have multiple brave hits in it. So effectively, when the bosses attack you, they actually help you to battery Celes, and you will always start your turn with maximum brave, so you should still be doing respectable damage even if Celes is hitting for once. So I've just entered force time here, and I got really lucky in the sense that it came pretty close in the race. The bosses are at 98.9%. But like I said, there are options here. Use Chocobo Summon if you want to really win the Force Gauge race. Or you can give Celes the Shine Age Light passive I removed it in this fight, but if you have that passive equipped, you can try to manipulate turns a little bit by using her Shine Age attack, because with the high turn rate up, it may move up her turn in a turn order, and the more turns she gets relative to the bosses, the better it is in terms of winning the force gauge race. And finally, as a tip, if you're pretty close to 100%, you can try to spam Runic, which is instant turn to charge up the last few percentage points and hit 100% before the bosses do. If you can hit force time before the bosses, the battle is essentially won. As you can see, the force gauge charges extremely quickly. You will actually hit 999% with 8 turns of force time remaining, after which the bosses will really just melt themselves. The only thing you need to worry about is Celes's health, and like I said, if you find yourself getting low, you can use either Shine Age or LD to heal herself. Celes should be able to survive from turn to turn as long as you end her turn relatively healthy, so just keep an eye out on her health. And of course, since the bosses take a lot of turns before her next turn, you do need to keep an eye on her traps. Make sure that you refresh her traps when you need to using her LD. If you did use Brother Summon, you can pop summon when the bosses are like 40-50% health actually. I decided to hold off until they are in the red, but on hindsight, I don't think it's really necessary. Brother Summon itself will deal about 10% HP damage, and your Cyan LD call will probably do another 10% health in HP damage, after which you can use the remaining turns in force time to kill off the bosses. So that's pretty much it for the Celes strategy. Since there's a little bit of time left while the bosses are committing suicide, a little bit about the mechanics on this stage. As I've mentioned, the bosses only have 2 regular attacks and they will always alternate, so they will start off with Maneuverable Destruction and then use Charge Ray on the second turn and then go back to Maneuverable Destruction and repeat the loop. If you do not use Jessie in your team, you do not want the bosses to hit force time, or if you do let the bosses hit force time, you do not want them to get turns inside their force time. That's because when the bosses are at 1 turn of force time remaining, they will trigger an instant game over attack, which is sort of the Lufenia style orb countdown attack. So it dispels all your buffs and sets your HP to 0. And beyond things like using Icos, Phoenix, there's no way to survive that attack. If you have Jessie, you can actually hit Force Weakness and cancel the boss out of their force time. So Jessie represents a very safe strategy if you did pull for her. That being said, they don't have any HP threshold attacks, so you don't have to worry about getting hit by any surprise attack midway through the fight. And they also do not gain bonus force percentage when you take an action, so they actually charge their force gauge pretty slowly. So most competent parties consisting of the usual force gauge charger, support, and key damage dealer should be able to take down this fight without any issues. One key character would of course be Penelo. I would probably do a run with her here, and I think she will do pretty well on this fight as well. Overall, the only thing noteworthy on this fight is the 300 million effective HP pool. But although that sounds like a high number because it's split across 3 bodies, it really isn't that much. So you can use characters specializing in AoE damage. I think Rinoa is also another good example here. And as long as you can kill the bosses before they hit 1 turn remaining in force time, then you're good to go. I decided to pop summon and finish them off inside here rather than allow them to get more turns. This is just to ensure that I can complete the fight meeting the HP requirements. It is pretty tight because you can only take up to 5000 HP damage at most. And if you allow them to get turns, then you put yourself at risk of failing the mission requirement. So hence this approach here. Anyway, that's it for this run. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoy the content, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Dare to Defy stage. Bye!